Hey, good morning, kids. Today we are going to start the very first video of the second chapter of Geography from Integrated Social Science Class 6, that is Latitudes and Longitudes. Okay, so what we are going to study in this chapter? So, in this chapter, we will be discussing these topics. The first one is the introduction. Okay, this is an introduction to our planet Earth only, and some reference points which are very much necessary for describing a location of a place. Okay, then we'll be moving to parallels and meridians. Okay, these are set of circles. We'll be reading about them in brief. Okay, then we'll be dealing with these topics in detail in other topics like parallels or latitudes and meridians or longitude. Okay, then we'll be reading about important parallels, heat zones, locating places on the globe, then local time, standard time, and the last one is the time zones. Okay, so let us move on, start our chapter. So as you can see, here is a picture which is showing our planet Earth. Okay, and the shape of the Earth is a sphere. The most convincing proof about the shape of the Earth has been given by the photographs taken by the astronauts and the orbiting satellites. The shape of the Earth is like a sphere. Okay, but the actual measurements proved that Earth is not a perfect sphere. Okay, the Earth is slightly bulging at the equator, as you can see here also in this uh, picture. Also, you are able to see here, aren't you? See here in this picture that the Earth is slightly bulged at the equator. Okay, and flattened at the poles. Okay, it is flattened at the poles. As you can see, the North Pole here. Here is the North Pole. Okay, here you can see, here is the South Pole. They are slightly flattened at the poles. Okay, and thus the polar diameter, we have already discussed about this fact in the previous class, that is the Earth and the solar system, that the polar diameter of the Earth is 44 kilometers shorter than the equatorial diameter. Okay, the polar diameter means the polar diameter, this one, the polar diameter is 44 times shorter than the equatorial diameter. Okay, and but for all practical purposes we consider the shape of the Earth as a sphere, that is like a ball. So it is easy to locate places on a flat surface, isn't it? It is very easy to locate people or place on a flat surface with reference to another place. Okay, since spherical objects like Earth neither have corner and sides nor top and bottom, it is difficult to locate a place on it. Okay, because Earth is a sphere, that is why it is very difficult, because it has neither the corner or sides and nor the top and the bottom. That is why it is very difficult to locate place here on the Earth. Okay, and every point on a ball is like an other point. Therefore, in order to know the location and direction of a place on the surface of Earth, we have to develop some method or technique. Okay, in order to know the location and direction of a place on the surface of the Earth, we have to develop some method or technique, and we have to evolve or find certain points or lines which can be used as a reference for locating places on the Earth. Okay, for locating the places on the Earth. And the earth rotates on its axis, and we know that this axis is imaginary. Have we ever seen that axis? No, we have just imagined that there is an axis on which the earth rotates. Okay, the end points of the axis of the earth are called the poles. Okay, as you can see here, the axis are called poles. Okay, there are two poles. There are two poles. Okay, and the pole which points the north star, that is the pole star, is the north pole. Okay, and the other is the south pole. The other pole is the south pole. Okay, the two poles can be used as two fixed points. Okay, these two poles are used as two fixed points. Okay, okay, and we can divide the earth into two equal halves. Okay, into two equal parts by drawing an imaginary line midway the north pole and the south pole. Okay, so there is an imaginary line, you can see here. Okay, there is an imaginary line between the north pole and the south pole. Okay, there is an imaginary line midway between the north pole and the south pole, and this line of circle divides the earth into two hemispheres. Okay, this line of circle divide the earth into two hemisphere. Okay, what the two hemispheres are called? The part of the earth which is towards the north of the equator. Okay, this is the equator, this is the equator, this one, this blue line you can see here, this is the equator. Okay, and the part of the earth to the north of this equator is known as the northern hemispheres, and the part of the earth which is towards the south of the equator, it is called the southern hemisphere. Okay, so we have already got three reference points, isn't it, for describing the location of a place? The first two reference points were the north pole and the south pole, and the third one which we got here is the equator. Okay, so the references that are important for describing the location of a place, okay, are the north pole, the south pole and the equator. The references that are important for describing the location of a place on the surface of the earth are the north pole, okay, the south pole and the equator. As you can see here, that is in the middle, that has been drawn in between the earth, in the midway between the north pole and the south pole. So the equator is the great circle. Okay, this great circle divides the earth into two halves, as we have already discussed, and this is known as equator. Okay, the half portion of the earth to the north of the equator is called the northern hemisphere, and the half portion towards the south is called the southern hemisphere. As you can see here in the picture, that a perpendicular line from any of the poles to the equator make an angle of 90 degree. If you will take north pole, you will see that it is making, if it is drawn, okay, it is somehow, as you can see the north pole, okay, it is this line. Okay, if you are able to see this one, so it is making an angle. Okay, the north pole is making an angle with the equator. Okay, and this angle is the 90 degree. Okay, this makes an angle of 90 degree. A perpendicular line from any of the poles, either from the south pole or from the north pole, you'll see that there is a perpendicular line. Okay, the line of the poles have been drawn perpendicularly on the equator, and that makes an angle of 90 degree. Thus the north pole is at 90 degree north and the south pole is at 90 degree south. Okay, So let us move on to a brief description or discussion upon the set of circles which we have already discussed. That we have already got the three references which are very important for describing the location of a place, that is the North Pole, the South Pole and the equator. Let us move on to parallels and meridians. As you can see here, there are two diagrams. Okay, the globe, which is a true representation of the earth, has two set of circles. Okay, you will see in the very first set, like this set. Okay, the circles are running from west to east. Okay, the circles are running from west to east, and these are the circles between the North Pole and the South Pole. These are the circles between the North Pole and the South Pole, and as you can see, they are equidistant. They are at equal distances from each other. That is why they are called parallels. Okay, and these circles are also called the lines of latitudes. Okay, what are these circles called? These circles are also called lines of latitudes. As you can see that the circles are parallel to the equator. Okay, the circles are parallel to the equator. And how does these circles help us? These circles help us in locating the places in the north and south directions. Okay, these circles help us locating places in the north and south directions, and there are 181 parallels. Okay, there are 181 parallels. We will be discussing about parallels in detail, where we will be discussing that how these parallels are 181 in numbers. We will be discussing in the very next video. Okay, moving on to the second set of circle. As you can see here is the second set of circle. Okay, so the circles are running from north to south. Okay, and the circles are passing through the North Pole and the South Pole. These are called meridians. What are these called? Meridians. And these lines are also called the lines of longitude. What are these lines called? The lines of longitude. Okay, all the meridians meet at the pole. Here you can see. Okay, all the meridians are meeting at the pole. Okay, and they help in locating the places in east and west direction. As you can see, parallels help in locating the place in north and south direction. The meridians help us locate the places in east and west direction, and there are in total 360 meridians. How many meridians are there? There are in total 360 meridians. So we will be discussing about the number of meridians and the number of parallels. We will be discussing about the parallels in detail and the meridians in detail. Okay, let us revise these things again. Okay, the globe, which is a true representation of earth, has two set of circles. Okay, the first set of circle, as you can see in the first picture, okay, it is running from, the circles are running from west to east. Okay, and these circles are between north and south poles. Okay, north and south poles, and these are called parallels. As you can see that they are at equal distances from each other. Okay, these lines are running parallel to each other. That is why they are called parallels, and these lines are also called lines of longitude. These lines are also called lines of longitude. The circles are parallel to the equator, and they help in locating the places in north and south directions, and total number of parallels are 181. In the second set, you can see that the circles are running from north to south, and the circles pass through the North Pole and South Pole. These are called meridians. Okay, these lines are also called lines of longitude. All the meridians meet at poles, that is the North Pole and the South Pole, and they help in locating the places in the east as well as west directions. Okay, and there are 360 meridians. Okay. Now in this picture you are able to see that in the figure the lines of latitude, that is the parallels, are also there, and the lines of longitudes, that is meridians, are also there. And as you can see here, it is showing the north latitude, the south latitude, the east longitude and the west longitude. As we have already discussed, the parallels helps us finding the location in north direction and the south direction, and the longitudes help us finding the location of a place in east direction as well as west direction. And as we know that parallels runs at equal distance from each other, they are parallel to the equator, and the longitudes, they meet at poles. Okay, so we have, without putting these two lines together, we can never find the exact location of any place. As you can see here in this picture, that there is a network of lines of latitude and longitudes, and they are intersecting each other. Okay, they are intersecting each other, and this is called grid. Okay, a network of lines intersecting each other is called grid. Each place on the globe is intersected by vertical and horizontal lines. Do see a globe, okay, using the Google or any other thing. If you are having globe at home, then also it will help you. Okay, but do see this first. Each place on the globe is intersected by vertical and horizontal lines. Thus, with the help of these two set of lines or the grid system, the location of any place can be determined. Okay, with the help of these two set of lines or the grid system, the location of any place can be determined. Okay, see what is written over here. The parallels and the meridians can be used too. As I have already discussed, they define the location, and the second one, the direction also. As you can see here, it is written west longitude, east longitude, north latitude, south latitude. So it also tells us the direction in which that place is located. Okay, other than that, the parallels and the meridians intersect each other at 90 degree. Okay, these parallels and meridians are intersecting each other at right angles at 90 degree. The network of the parallels and the meridians on a globe is called the Earth's grid. Okay, and is also known as the geographic grid. It is also known as the geographic grid. Okay, that is all for today. Today we have discussed few things only, like an introduction to the earth, okay, how it is inclined, as well as we have also discussed something in brief, that a globe, that the earth is having two set of circles. Okay, one is the parallels and the other is the meridians. Okay, and we also learned a brief discussion. We have also done a brief discussion on these two set of lines, and with this last slide we have understood that these two set of lines intersect each other at 90 degree, and these network of parallels and meridian is called the Earth's grid or the geographic grid, and this intersection also help us define the location as well as the direction of any place on the globe. Okay, that is all for today. Have a nice day. I'll be coming with the next video on parallels or latitudes only. Okay, we'll be discussing upon the parallels, which is also known as lines of latitude. Okay, till then, have a nice day.